Howdy, Jacob here. Today we're going to do something a little bit different than I usually do. Instead of calculating present value of earnings and cash flow for companies, I'm going to change it up and we're going to review or we're going to look at when you should buy a property versus when you should rent a property based on the amount of time that you will be in this location. So first, I want to go over some of the assumptions that are used and then any of the formulas so that you can create this if you have Excel and want to create your own spreadsheet to calculate whether you should rent or buy. And so first assumption is price of the property, pretty simple. Loan amount, currently assuming 20% down, which means 80% loan amount, 5% interest rate on the property, currently assuming a 30-year fixed mortgage rate. If you got 15, just put the number of payments as 12 times 15. This is your calculated monthly payment based on your loan amount, interest rate, and number of payments. This is currently assuming 1.5% of initial property value for taxes and insurance. And then we have our PMI. So we're saying if you have less than 20% down, a lot of mortgage companies will require mortgage insurance for that a little extra payment. And I'm currently assuming 1%. So if you do not put 20% down, it's saying that it will calculate 1%. Um, and then for it's currently assuming no HOA fees. If you have HOA fees, put them there. Currently assuming upkeep on the property is 1%. So again, I'm trying to equate buying a property to renting. If you have paint scratches in your room in an apartment, or you need pest control, animal control, not animal control, pest control, or spray for that, paint for this, whatever it may be, that would be covered under your rental cost. But if you own the property, that's going to be something you're going to have to manage yourself. And so I'm currently assuming 1% of the property value is going to go towards just upkeeping the place, whether that be painting here, doing some updates here, whatever it may be. If you do things yourself, this will be a lot cheaper. I know me personally, been living in my house for almost almost 2 years now, and I definitely don't pay anything close to this per month. Um, but then again, my house isn't worth that much. So just to understand that this is going to be an assumption that you might have to tweak a little bit if you want it to be more personal to you. And then we just have our total monthly cost. Then we have our um, buyer close at 3%. So we're saying the closing cost for the buyer when you buy the property will be 3%. When you sell the property, it'll cost 6%, and then the property will appreciate at 3%. And then on the renting side, a bit more simplistic, we have $3,000 for rental cost. Um, Currently, the rental annual fee increase will be 3%, and then we're saying that instead of putting in the property that you buy, you put down 20%. Let's say, because we want it to be as apples to apples as absolutely possible, that 20% that you would have put down is rather being invested in making 5%. I put it at 5% because it's for a shorter period of time. If we were looking at 20, 30 years, I'd be more comfortable putting a 8 to 10% return in there. But for such a short period of time, the allocation of assets must be pretty conservative. So 5%, I feel like, is a pretty safe estimate. And then here I just have the principal payment. So the principal payment is calculated based on the loan amount, what's left of the loan, the interest rate, and then your monthly payment. So this can just be pasted all the way down to your 360 payments, or if you're 15 years, 180 is just your interest, just taking the monthly payment minus how much the principal is going to cost, or how much you earn in principal on each monthly payment. And then here is a quick formula for calculating the renting property by month. So 3,000 a month, you sign a lease for 12 months, let's say, and then at the end of 12 months, they bump it up 3%, and then they do that after 12 months again. Okay, and then so to get to setting these equal to each other, we have closing costs based on the initial purchase price of the property at 3%. What you pay out, so this is going to be your monthly fee that you pay out, again, multiplied by the month to break even. So this is saying for 113 months, you pay everything you see up here, your principal, interest, insurance, taxes, PMI if you have it, HOA if you have it, and then just upkeeping the property. This is going to be your current worth of the property. So you have your initial 20% down, you have the price appreciation, and then you have the principal that you've been paying each month. A little bit has been going to principal, so you're including that there. And then here's the last negative going out is going to be your closing costs. And so we're saying that the house that you bought it for is going to appreciate 3% per year, or 3% divided by 12 times to the power of whatever months it is. So just saying in the most basic sense is appreciating at 3% a year. It has intermediary months between it, obviously. And then whatever period you're selling at is going to be at 6% closing costs. And on the renting side, it's a bit more simplistic. We just have the positive of what your down payment would have been, increasing at that 5% per year for the duration that you have it. And then your negative is going to be just all of your rental payment outflows. And then this is just, the sum that you would get from buying minus the sum you get from selling. Where does that equal each other? So I realized I can't do a what if here because I don't have intermediary numbers between months. And so somewhere between 112 months and 113 months is where you end up breaking even, which is almost 10 years. But again, this is assuming that you're comparing a $3,000 rental to an $800,000 property. We could change it up quite a bit. Let's say that the property you're thinking of buying is 500,000, or you could rent at 2,500. Here it changes quite a bit. Let's make this a little worse, more realistic to nowadays, about 7%. At 7%, yeah, it looks pretty similar to how the other one looked, where the break even is about 107 months. But if we go to what interest rates were a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we look at maybe 4%, then you really don't have to pay much. You don't have to pay for that many months for it to really make sense. So if you're comparing a $500,000 property, you put 20% down, you have a 4% interest rate for a 30-year period, or you can rent for $2,500 a month. Given the rest of these assumptions, you'd only have to live in the property for 41 months, just over 3 years, for it to make sense to you. It's all really just, I mean, it is just math. Like, we just changed the interest rate from 4 to 7%, and we see that it well over doubles in the fact of that 41 months is now 107 months to break even. So I hope everyone has the ability to, or 100% everyone has the ability to create this model on your own. Please, if you're ever wondering how to compare buying to renting, reference this reference this video so you can create it yourself and personalize it towards your situation. Because again, a lot of these assumptions are, some of them are very conservative, some of them are just there. So just so I could show you a comparison right here. But I hope everyone enjoyed this video that was a little bit different and can get some use out of it when they're comparing whether they should, if they move to a place, whether buying or renting makes most sense to them. So thank you and have a good rest of your day.